Like a lot of Birdsong projects, our extended family as it was sometimes extends quite a few years back. Devil's Stomping Ground actually is a collaboration, a songwriting collaboration between myself and my old friend Rick Harris. And Rick and I had been in a band called Knots and Crosses from the late 80s, early 90s, and actually Greg and Ben Whitman also played with that band very frequently. So, we just keep weaving ourselves into each other's lives. Rick, we wrote this song after Knots and Crosses, and Rick was beginning his own record, which Darlene and I were working on, and that was really cool. He brought this riff to me and had the melody line for the opening verse, but didn't really have any words to it and didn't know what to do with it beyond that. And he was kind of perplexed because he said, I'm changing modes in the middle of it. Is that legal? And I thought, well, no, it's probably not legal, but why stop there? Why not? It just felt like the melody he had was really interesting. Why not do it? And often when Rick and I would write songs together, he would come with half of a piece of it, and as soon as he played it for me, the second half just became really clear. So the chorus to Devil's Stomping Ground was almost like our conversation. Hey, Alan, I've got this piece. What do you think of that? Yeah, I like that. And what do you think about this following it? It just sort of flowed. And so we wrote the song pretty quickly. The lyrics we had phrases of, but not really much beyond that. The phrase Devil's Stomping Ground, I realized later, is something that is from my childhood. There was a book in the school library on haunted places of North Carolina, which is where I'm from. And one of the places was called the Devil's Tramping Ground. And in my mind, tramping and stomping, I guess, became the same thing. But never been to the Devil's Tramping Ground, but I always remember reading it and thinking, that just sounds like the scariest, coolest place ever. So phrases will stick with you. Kids are impressionable that way. So he ended up writing a lyric that kind of had that scary, spooky, mystical quality to it. Rick was all good with that. And we did a song. We did a version of it, actually, while he was making his record. It's got the kind of melody I write where the vocal range is all over the place. It was more suited to me singing than to Rick singing. So it couldn't really fit on his record, and it just became this song that we had recorded. And he did this monster guitar solo all over it. It was a big rock and roll number. Later, I was thinking about birdsong, especially with the use of strings and thinking about the epic scale that you can do strings with, and thought about this song. Thought it might be something that we could do as birdsong. Only instead of doing the guitar solo, let the strings become the big epic monster solo. And so I wrote this crazy elaborate string score to go with it. And what was really interesting was that in the course of recording the string parts, one of the folks that's been playing with us at a lot of live shows and a lot of our records, Sherrah-Davies, she had actually done a lot of Turkish, improvisational music. So she was helping to talk about bowing and articulations and ways to make the string arrangement feel a little bit more like the Arabic pop songs or the Indian pop songs that I was trying to kind of reference in the score. And she was coaching the rest of the folks in ways to make all of the strings sound like that. And it elevated the string arrangement considerably just in how you perform it. So then this little thing in the back of my mind went, that guitar solo in the middle of the song, maybe that should be violin and we should get Helen to play it. So she came in and said, okay, I'll play something. And basically all I told her to do was do something that's just totally wild and crazy. And she did. So I hope she's okay with us putting it on the record. It's pretty wild and crazy, but I love it. It's an energy that we don't often put in our music, and I love it. We finally have some of that in there. So that's Devil's Stomping Ground.